Let's talk about the biggest sport in the world.
There's no bigger.
Darts.
Unbelievable. What a story.
Listen,
what a Cinderella story.
Barry, you've been involved in sport for, I don't know, 50 years. Have you ever seen just such a rise in popularity over such a short period of time down to one person like we have with Luke Littler over the last 14 months?
No. I mean, I've seen some meteoric growth in the early days of snooker. You'll remember in the sort of late 70s, early 80s, when along came Davis and Jimmy White, subsequently Ronnie O'Sullivan. That was impressive. And the globalisation of that was impressive. And we're now seeing something much bigger than that. And I can sort of compare the two. I thought that was huge with snooker in the 80s. Darts has just broken all those records. I mean, I don't think we've announced too much, but you may not be aware, the repercussion of that is global. So last week we announced from our friends in Bahrain, for example, that darts has now been added to the school's curriculum in Bahrain, and 600 schools will play darts every week as part of their curriculum. And this is the beginning of bringing in younger people. They learn, funny enough, they learn a bit of maths, they learn a bit, they keep it, and they're having fun. And because darts is a sport that doesn't have any barriers to entry, so it's no expensive club to join, you haven't got expensive equipment, it's just down to you. And any kid can get a dartboard, put it up in his bedroom, mark out the appropriate distance.
It's the same everywhere.
And it's the same everywhere. Yeah. And what we're seeing is Junior Darts Corporation doubled in 1 month. Number of kids come and say, well, I want to be like Luke Littler. And then they hear, Luke Littler earned £2 million in his first year as a pro. Huh? You know, he comes from Warrington. His dad's a taxi driver. He bought his mum and dad a nice 5-bedroom house with a swimming pool. These are the type of stories that you want out there, and other kids and other players. Because behind Luke Littler, as I said before, there's a tsunami of young talent that you're going to see coming through in the next 2 or 3 years. And they are going to put the existing players under pressure, which is going to give us more narrative to talk about, you know, what happened to X, Y, Z. Yeah. Could he cope? Can't he cope? We are going to announce exclusively on talkSPORT in the next few weeks changes in the prize money structure, which I'm teasing people with, but I've got to work out the numbers because I run sustainable businesses and it doesn't come into operation till the 1st of December. But that's going to give another boost where everyone goes, what? What? And what do you think when you see a darts player? He looks like a bloke who lives in the next street to me. That is the accessibility I want that probably Premiership football has lost because the fans are not relatable so much to the names of great players. In darts, they're like one of our own. And the leader of the new darts pack is an 18-year-old kid from Warrington called Luke Littler. Even his name is good, Luke Littler, the Nuke. You know, so we're in a really strong position. I'm overexcited, as always, about the global ramifications because I'm seeing it. Everyone talks about England. I'm seeing this in every country in the world.
But I was just going to say about Littler, because of how the impact he's had on the sport, and you've always had great players, always great dart players. Have you noticed, I wouldn't say out of jealousy because that's probably the wrong word, but the standard of darts all of a sudden have gone up because they're almost thinking, well, I've been playing darts for 10, 15 years, but this kid's come along and getting all the limelight, the love.
The standard's been going up for the last 20 years. You know, Eric Bristow was winning world championships in the late 80s with an average of in the 80s or low 90s. Today, if you're not averaging 100, 110, you've got no chance. Yeah. So you've seen it. Phil Taylor was the flag bearer. He raised the bar. And then along came Michael van Gerwen, and now along comes Luke Littler. It's actually the same as snooker. Steve Davis raised the bar, along came Stephen Hendry, along came Ronnie O'Sullivan. So sport naturally evolves, but you have to give the opportunities to the sportsmen to actually change their lives. Most sports go wrong because they have, and I'm not knocking the Olympics, I think it's wonderful, but you can't eat a gold medal. You've got to give these guys cash. You've got to change their life. Yeah. And then you can get an identifiable person that other people can look at and dream to be like. And I go back in my days, you know, I always wanted to be Bobby Smith from Tottenham or something like that. We all had a hero, didn't we? Yep. I had Johnson from the Orient, you know, was my great. But kids need that. And we as adults need the narrative to have a chat about it at work, at home. Those lucky people that get a ticket, and they are lucky. That's a problem. I've got to find more tickets.
I want to ask you about those lucky people that get tickets because you've got the demand outweighs the supply, right? I'm guessing 10 to 1 or maybe even more.
I know.
It's Ali Pally at the moment, right?
Yeah.
And it's not in the biggest room at Ali Pally.
No.
What's the deal with
I've got a terrible problem with this, to be honest with you. I could quadruple the price of tickets, but then I lose my core audience. And being a working class person myself, I don't want to lose those people because they're the most loyal fans. Again, like football fans, be dangerous. Going all VIP and prawn sandwiches, you lose the heart and soul of your industry. So we're keeping our prices reasonable going forward. Do we go to a bigger venue? It's a difficult one. I could go to some venues in London. I could possibly go next door into the bigger hall at Alexandra Palace, but it needs a lot of work done.
Okay.
And this year, we will definitely be in the same place, but this year we're going to go 128 players instead of 96. It's going to give us 4 extra days, 8 extra sessions, an extra 30,000 tickets. So that will help, but doesn't solve the problem.
When you say this year it's definitely in it, does that mean the following year hasn't been confirmed yet?
No, it has not been confirmed. We've done a 1-year extension, and we are as friends as we were with our broadcasters, discussing it with those people that have supported us to say, what's the best way forward? I can sell 20,000 tickets a day instead of 3.5. So put yourself in my shoes. You know how greedy I am and how much I love a pound note.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. There's a bigger picture here. I've got something special, and I've got to move at the right pace so as not to spoil it.
The fella to my right, Darren,
honestly,
has been playing darts. He's having an hockey built in his house, proper.
I just love Darren, but I always liked him when he played football.
I tell you what it is.
I always thought he should have been at the Orient. He'd have been a sensation at the Orient.
No, you couldn't afford him.
No, definitely couldn't afford him.
He's seen what has happened with me and Paul and being invited to play. Is there an opportunity for Darren and people like Darren down the road that could play maybe the UK Open in darts? Could he do that?
Yes, there are qualifiers out there. I mean, they're underway this season, so I think you write off this year.
Thank goodness for that.
And then you have a go next year.
Can he do that in 12 months? Can we lock that in?
Yes, we can stick it, because it's open to everybody.
Okay.
You know, and there are lots of tournaments out there, by the way, now, where people are playing from all over the world and enjoying it. The great thing about it, what you could do, if you get to a certain level, don't mess around with the tournaments. Go straight to Q School. Because anyone can enter Q School.
Yeah.
And you turn up with 1,000 other people trying to get one of 32 tour cards. Oof. But that's the equivalent of me and Andy going in the US Open.
Of course.
Because, of course, you've got no chance. These kids are going to blow you off the table.
Course.
But you want that as a sportsman, Marcus. You want to experience that level of adrenaline that you probably don't see in your personal life now.
Yeah, that competitiveness.
You can't get... But it's in you. It's never going to go away. But the danger is you get frustrated. With me, because I'm useless at everything, I don't get frustrated because I don't expect the world, but I know that I'm going to try more than any other human being. Unfortunately, it doesn't replicate skill levels, does it?
It'd be quite interesting to constantly hear, Darren, you require 2.
Yeah. It'd be quite odd to hear, Darren, you require anything.
Yeah. Hopefully that'd be good.
Hey,
so that's
got to start somewhere, right?
That's locked in.
January Q School. I've got it in my diary.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
And listen, Matchroom, when they tell you something, it's happening.
All
right. Before we let go, let's talk a little bit of boxing. What's the latest with AJ?
No idea. Eddie's flown around all over the world, as he always does. He's having discussions with AJ. It's very much AJ's decision, you know. It's nothing. I know it's something to do with us because of our friendship and the way we worked since he's turned pro. But we've learned enough about AJ to know at the end of the day, he is going to make the call. I think it would be an easier call if Tyson Fury hadn't retired. And has he retired? Someone said to me the other day, what do you think of Fury's retirement? And I said it sounded like $10 million. And they said, what do you mean? I said, I think that's the extra he wants. But I may be being too cynical. Maybe he has fallen out of love with boxing. But AJ is at that age now where he has to have meaningful fights if he wants to fight at all. But the decision on that rests entirely with the big man, and we, of course, at Matchroom, would support anything he wants to do.
Do you think that we will see Fury AJ?
I believe we will. I'm cynical enough to think that money cures everything.
Of course.
And when the dust settles, look, they both had very disappointing defeats in their last fight, you know, and it takes time to absorb that and come to terms with it. Because boxing is a one-off business. It's not as if we can play again next week.
Of course.
So you've got to regroup mentally, and the battle is in your head. And it can't be easy, because getting it in the face when you practice is not my idea of fun. But they do it every day of their working life. So you've got to factor that in. You've got to factor the age. You've got to factor the thing is they're both very, very wealthy people. They don't need it. But what they do need, and I keep looking at I keep looking at you because every sportsman misses the adrenaline more than the money.
Yeah.
And the truth is, AJ definitely, I'm pretty sure, will fight again. And Tyson Fury fight, for both of them, a 2-fight deal with Tyson Fury. Whether anything happens afterwards, but what a great crescendo to an end of 2 great careers.
I hope it happens.
And also, their statement of thanks to the British and the boxing fans around the world to say, thanks for all your support. We're going to give you what you want, and then we're exiting stage left and going to lead, I hope, a very exciting and satisfying life.
Barry, I'm going to let you leave exit stage left, but before you do, firstly, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to play in the UK Open. You're playing in it again, and that is, let me just tell you one more time, 6th to the 11th of May at the Telford International Centre. Tickets, I've just been told, are going quicker than they expected, matchroompool.com, so don't hang around. Also, you've let Darren Bent know that he will be playing in...
No, will be. I've got to get to that level first.
No.
Barry,
the fact is, I'm going to put the onus on you to get to that level. Okay. You're in.
I like that.
So if you don't play, I will give you an enormous amount of bad press.
Okay.
No, you're going to love it.
Of course he will.
You'll love it.
Thank you, Barry, for that.
Pleasure, mate.
And also, you did say that you will announce hopefully the new prize money for darts. You'll do it on our show? You'll do that?
You and I will talk about a time. Okay. It's going to take a couple more weeks. We'll be ready in March to give the players a belated Christmas present that will put smiles on all their faces.
Well, and ours as well as darts fans. Thank you for coming in. It's always a pleasure. Just a bit of breaking news this evening. talkSPORT understands John Eustace has agreed to leave Blackburn to join Derby County. We understand Eustace felt unsupported by the club. We'll discuss this in greater detail later on in the show if you want to have your say. If you want to have your say on all things Tottenham, that's where we're going next. 03717 22 33 44.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.